Hello guys, here's Anna Tutova, co-founder of Coinstelegram, and our guest, Kieran Warwick, who is co-founder of Illuvium. It's an NFT blockchain game on Ethereum, and as well they partnered with Immutable X. And it's great to have you here, Kieran.
Thanks, Anna. It's really good to be here.
So can you tell us about your background? You actually have a crypto family. Your brother is founder of Synthetics, and actually you started as well Illuvium with your other brothers. So can you tell us how did you generally discover crypto? What was your first impression about it?
Yeah, so I first joined back in 2016. I got a little bit of exposure from working with a platform. I was working in a startup, and essentially what that platform did is convert any sort of digital currency into any physical currency into digital currency. And so we were working with Ladbrokes and a couple of other large players in the financial space. And then randomly, a Bitcoin company came to us and said, "Look, you guys have 1,000 retailers and terminals across Australia, and we would like people to be able to come in and pay cash and then have your system convert that into Bitcoin." And so that was my first exposure. And from there, I looked at Ethereum because I felt like Bitcoin was, I think it was trading at like $200, maybe even less than that. And I thought it had already gone too far. And so I wanted to find something that was a little bit more volatile, had a little bit more upside. 70,000 US at one stage, probably should have just stayed in that, but that was my first exposure. And then I didn't have a very good time trading Ethereum. I lost a bunch of money, and so I ended up going to start another company in the food tech space. I was doing that for about 3 or 4 years, and then finally the big bull run of 2020, 2021 came, and Kane, my brother, he kept on pinging me saying, "You got to get back in. You'll find something that you want to do. You'll be able to build a protocol or trade or something." And eventually I found DeFi, and then from there I found gaming, and I wanted to create one of the first GameFi projects in the space.
So when you started Illuvium, did you see any other examples of blockchain NFT games, or not yet? Like the obvious first one was CryptoKitties, then X Infinity, but X Infinity was not popular at all back then.
Yeah, so it was actually Axie Infinity, and that was the real aha moment that I had, and that's when I started talking to my two other brothers, one who's a game designer and the other who's a extremely good CGI modeler, top of his class inside of that space. And I said to them, "Look, this game, I think Axie was worth something like 30 million when I found it, which to me was insane, right? Like I was like, how can an indie game like this be worth that much money? There's not that many players." And so from there, we just started building it out.
And are you an avid gamer yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually just finished a game of team fight tactics with our team. I've ranged from playing on Mac, PC, console. I had Game Boys growing up. You know, I played the first Pokemon Red when it first came out. I got addicted to that. So yeah, I've been playing games pretty much my entire life from like 3 years old.
And you have as well different versions of games in like your one ecosystem, and you started as well the beta for Overworld games. So can you tell more about this? How can gamers join it, and as well what are the differences between your games?
Yeah, so you're right. There's 3 games inside of the universe, and the idea is that they're all interoperable. And how it works is your journey starts in Illuvium 0. That's your city builder game where you're trying to gather the resources from your land, and you take those resources and you bring them into the overworld, and that's essentially what you use. We call it fuel, and that's what you need in order to be able to travel around, to capture alluvials, to fuse together alluvials, which makes them stronger, and a bunch of other interactions. Then once you've captured creatures inside the overworld, you build a team which has composites made up of different synergies like water and air and earth and fire and stuff like that. And then you have different types of characters in the sense of like rangers and stuff like that. So you've got this, you're trying to build a team where you can go into the arena, which is the place where it's very competitive and there's player versus player combat, and you're trying to beat people to level up the leaderboards, to win tournaments, and eventually start earning yield.
And as well, I saw you have like a staking features for your token. Can you tell more about this? You implemented DeFi into your gaming too.
Yeah, so that was sort of because I was so keen on building a DeFi protocol. I pitched Kane on multiple versions of DeFi applications. That was sort of my niche, and when we first started thinking about building a game and a studio around that, I wanted to add in the DeFi elements, which included staking. It included governance, and so typically, like you typically see with a DeFi protocol, we have the same. So we portioned off a very large amount, 30% of our tokens, to be liquidity mined, and that was able to give us a really good, I would say, starting point to bootstrap the liquidity in the protocol. We were giving massive rewards out, and a lot of people were happy with how the token would be distributed fairly amongst. Then the second, to actually have decentralized governance from even before the TGE, where people can vote on proposals to make configurational changes or just general improvements to the protocol.
So does your governance fully operating already? Does the holders of your token can be decision makers for the different developments in your game?
Absolutely. Yeah, we wanted to do it. We actually did it before our TGE. So what we did was we airdropped our initial community members a bunch of pre-ILV, we called it. And that pre-ILV only had one function, and that was for you to be able to vote in the council. The council is made up of 5 members that the token holders vote in, and they last for 6-month epochs, and then they need to be voted back in. And so it's completely democratized, and it's a system that was a little bit scary in gaming, because you've got to sort of keep, when it comes to things like marketing and operations, and it's not all just smart contracts. So it was a little bit scary, but all in all, I think it's been a really big success to have decentralized governance inside of Illuvium.
Yeah, it's great when your gamers, when your users can take part in the development of your game. And as well, you have claims that you will beat the League of Legends. So what's your plan to convert Web2 gamers into Web3?
So the first thing is we want to build a game that is as fun to play, if not even more fun to play than the existing games. And so when I say League of Legends, I really mean their companion game Teamfight Tactics, which has 30 million plus active players every single month, and that's our arena version of Illuvium, which is auto battler. It's designed to be on mobile, but instead of you having characters which in Teamfight Tactics they're given to you, you need to bring those characters into the game, and the difference is you've got to have caught them inside the overworld, which is a really cool interoperable experience, or you can purchase them off our marketplace. But the key there is instead of those characters being owned by Riot, the publisher, they're owned by you in your own wallet, and you have custody of them. And so that's the sell, if you will, to the players of these typical mainstream games. It's not that this is going to take over gaming forever and make it this like penultimate experience that you've never seen before. It's just going to make it a little bit better. It's a little bit cooler because you have ownership and you have the potential to earn from playing these games.
And how is it generally for you to build now during this bear market? I know you showed some numbers that you already got 1.8 million users registered for your beta testing. Is it there still that activity, or like how is it different for you now?
It's definitely dropped off. There's without a doubt, it's dropped off. The good thing is we were able to launch and build a whole bunch of hype at a stage where we had millions of people literally playing games inside of the space. And so we were able to capture those emails. And unfortunately, up till this point, we've only allowed 30,000 people into the private betas. That, once we go to open beta, will be any amount that decide to come in, So we'll be able to contact those 1.8 million people and start drawing them back into Web3. And again, the way that we do that is by enticing them with an extremely fun game or universe of games in our case. And, the other benefits like ownership and potential to earn and all of that kind of fun stuff.
And how was that selection of 30,000 people done? Was it random, or did you have any specific criteria who let into your beta game or not?
So it was the most active people that we had in our Discord. That was one of the key factors that we wanted to give back to people that were super active. And we have different levels inside of our Discord. So people that were rangers, we let in first. You needed to, there was I think you needed to be something like level 20, which means that you needed to have a bunch of conversation to make the cut and actually get inside the beta. Then we also went after key influencers, a bunch of partners, and then even some investors as well. So we were a little bit strategic, but we also, so I was just saying, we basically we wanted to give back to the loyal members in our Discord. So you had to be a certain level in order to be able to get into the private beta from just participating in conversations inside of Discord. So that was one parameter. And then we also were strategic with going after different influencers. We also went after, we went out to investors, gave a whole bunch away through competitions and giveaways, and also through partnerships like our Christmas campaign that we did throughout December.
What was your Christmas campaign, and what partnerships did you announce?
So we essentially did a whole bunch of partnerships with DeFi protocols, other gaming companies out there, random influencers. I was even one of the people where you had to do something, and our main one was partnering with a protocol called DQuest, which essentially allowed us to come up with a whole bunch of actions that people needed to do in order to unlock points. And then you were rewarded either through like beta spots, or we had like ILV giveaways, we had SILV giveaways, we had NFTs that we gave away, and a bunch of other stuff like that.
And you as well started on Ethereum, but currently you are on Immutable X on layer 2 for Ethereum, for NFTs and gaming. So can you tell why did you decide to switch to Immutable X, and as well whether you plan to build on any other blockchains and to be multi-chain in the future?
So we always wanted to stay on Ethereum. The security that Ethereum offers was something that we weren't willing to forgo by, potentially going to other chains. So then we started looking at different L2 solutions. There was a bunch that we looked into. We ended up on Immutable X due to its scalability, and it's the perfect system with having zero gas fees and extremely fast transaction times, which is exactly what we need, because we have a whole bunch of microtransactions across the different games inside of Illuvium. So we needed that experience to be seamless, and but without compromising the security of our gamers and our users. So that's why we chose Immutable. Another cool little, I guess, feature of Immutable to us was that they're also Australian. We were able to work very closely with them, and they've been able to tailor the product to our needs across the board, which haven't been it hasn't been easy for them, let's put it that way.
And as for the users, where do you see the most activity, in which regions?
So our largest market is by far the US. It's makes up about 30%. Then second is Philippines. We also have a large amount of the community in Brazil, and then it's sporadically spread across like different European countries. Funnily enough, Australia is something like 17th on our list. We're obviously quite a small population, but at the same time, with all of the founding members being from here, I thought that would be a little bit higher. But yeah, that's pretty much the distribution.
Yeah, that's interesting that you have majority of your users from US, and it's definitely your game should be fun. And how do you see generally currently the development of NFT gaming, and how NFT blockchain gaming will be able to overcome in the future traditional gaming?
So I think once people experience a really good game, or at least a few good games inside of the space that give you the benefits of blockchain technology, like ownership, like the potential to earn, and the ability to exchange assets within games, they're two the features of blockchain games, if inside of a really compelling, addictive game, will be too well received. And I don't think that gamers are going to go back to traditional games where they lose ownership, they don't have any say in what happens with the development of the game and characters and configurations and nerfing and stuff like that. So I think the experience will be received really, really well. But the reason it's receiving this negative connotation is because we don't have games that can genuinely compete with mainstream, but that it's not going to be long before they start coming out with open betas and then finally getting to releases. And once that happens, once again, I don't see people going back to traditional ways.
Yeah, that's true. We need more quality Web3 games. And can you share as well some upcoming plans for the development of Illuvium? When do you plan to release your games to the public, as well, whether you have any partnerships in line?
Yeah, so we plan on releasing midway through this year. We've got Illuvium 0, which is just recently gone into alpha stage, which will be going beta again midway through this year. That's the same thing with Arena, the autobattler, and the overworld. We're working on a few different regions to add to the overworld, so there's a little bit more complexity and there's a little bit more to do. And partnership-wise, we've got a bunch of esports teams that we're working with that are very big into Dota, Underlords, and teamfight tactics. So we'll start getting them playing our game. In terms of Illuvitas, which is an NFT collection-based game, it's outside of our lore, but it's a cool spin on avatars for your alluvials. That is going to have a partnership element to it where we can start going after mainstream brands like your high fashion brands, your food brands like your McDonald's, your KFCs, all of those kind of things, and dressing up our characters to be funny. And maybe they have a packet of fries in their hands and they've got a McDonald's hat on or whatever like that. That's going to be released probably, I'm hoping late Feb, early March. So that's a little bit of alpha for you.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. Thank you for sharing your journey with us, and wish you good luck with the game, and hope we will be able to play it soon.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you having me on.